Powered by Arkansas, for Arkansas. This is Inside Arkansas Live.
And welcome into Inside Arkansas Live here on this beautiful day here in the great state of Arkansas. I'm your host, John Neighbors, alongside Curtis Wilkerson and Andrew Ellis, and appreciate each and every one of you for making us a part of your afternoon. This afternoon, I would say I hope you guys had a wonderful weekend, but I think the way to put it is you've had a wild weekend that continues to get wild, and we have a lot, and I mean a lot to react to here today because we just got a little action over there at the Hill with Hunter Yurachek and Bobby Petrino's press conference. New head coach, interim-wise, Bobby Petrino, and we're going to play some clips. We're going to have reactions. We'll get to your chats. We'll get to everything that we possibly can. Appreciate everyone's patience with us, but fellas, I know we'll get into the specifics, but what'd you think of today with the press conference?
I need to get into specifics, I think, to really address, you know what I mean? Like, there's just so much going on there from, and I feel completely differently about some of the things that we heard from Bobby Petrino, where I was like, okay, very interesting. Oh, really? So, yeah, separation between offense and defense. Yep, got it. Oh, this is the plan. There were a lot of good things that came out of his mouth. There were some things, believe it or not, that Hunter Yurachek said where I was like, well, yeah, that actually makes sense. And then there was a lot where I was like, bro, stop talking. So I'm all over the place. I don't know that I have like a big picture overall takeaway from it other than there was a lot, and we have a lot to get into.
Yeah, I will start by saying that a lot of times we grab our pitchforks and we watch these press conferences with like a mad mentality, kind of looking for things to be upset about. And if you're winning with that mentality, there's absolutely some things that you can harp on and nitpick on. And by the way, I'm going to do some of that on this show. I will start by saying, though, that like it's just a tough spot to be in. So I didn't expect to go into this thinking that Bobby Petrino was going to completely win us all over and that Hunter Yurachek was going to completely change the way we view him. And he did not do that for me. There was some very important information in here that I'm glad we, got cleared up, that we got to hear from. It was very interesting. I was just fascinated by a lot of the things that I heard. A lot of it was about what we expected for the most part. I thought Bobby Petrino handled it pretty well for the overall. If I were grading out his performance, I think he said a lot of the things that you probably need to say, and I just was interested hearing his perspective on it. There are some things to nitpick, and I'm sure we're going to do that here. But overall, from the press conference, I came away a little bit impressed with Bobby, and Yurachek kind of what I expected from him.
Yeah, I mean, it's something to where you'll hear a few of it. And again, we'll have some clips, maybe some clips that, because there's so much involved. When you have a dual press conference, they originally started with 3 microphones. I'm like, oh, is they going to have like a guest appearance by somebody? Like, is someone going to pop in? But ended up being just them two, ended up being about a 30-minute press conference. So let's go ahead and start with the staff changes, because that was something we went live with earlier today about the defensive staff changes. Travis Williams, Marcus Woodson, Deke Adams all being let go this morning, and had some guys that got elevated to that position. And Bobby Petrino was asked about the decision going into it and what made those staff decisions happen. Here's what he had to say.
Yeah, first let me say how thankful I am to Coach Pittman for bringing me here and giving me this opportunity to come back to a place that I love. Very grateful for Hunter and Chancellor Robinson and the Board of Trustees for allowing me to come back a year ago and be an assistant coach here and then being able to do this. Whenever you make a decision, you base it off of, number one, what's best for the team. Number two, what's best for the individual players. And I felt that, it was in our best interest to do what we did this morning, for our players to improve individually, get a little bit more motivated, and I think it'll help our team overall get out on the field and compete and find ways to win a game.
Hey guys, so Petrino lays it out right there. Just kind of an answer I think probably all of us would have expected something like that to say, but obviously making those changes aren't easy, but it seems like Bobby's kind of what we talked about on the stream earlier today. If we want to get to that point where we want to win, we got to make some of those changes, and these were the changes that were necessary.
Yeah, no doubt about it. It's not an easy position to be in. You got to do what you got to do. And I agree with what he said there. I tweeted out the quote even, but when he said it was in our best interest to do what we did this morning for our players to improve individually. Oh, yeah, you need a lot of that. To get more motivated. Yeah, and that was a common theme in every question that was asked about to Yurachek of why did this happen? What led to you making this decision now? He kept saying effort, 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 effort. And it looked like they quit out there. So yeah, that makes sense. And then to, to put you in a better position to get out there and compete on the field, well, that's what you're looking for. And, if these guys aren't competing with the current staff, if they're not going all in for those guys, then you got to make some changes. And that's what he did there. So kudos to him for having the fortitude to get it done. And we'll see what it looks like. But yeah, I don't have any issues at all with what he said there.
And I love the way he phrased it, Curtis. You listed the quote there, which that last line I feel like was the most important line. That was the last thing he said. And before it, he did all the dressing up, all the, these decisions are tough, blah, blah, blah. Then at the very end, I did it because they quit on him. That's pretty much what he said. That's pretty much what it is. And of course, it's a decision that nobody disagrees with. So it's really, he didn't even have to explain it. We all knew. I do think it's just notable for him to come out and say that. And he said it in the nicest way possible, but he said what we all thought, what we all expected. And I enjoyed hearing that. I also enjoyed, and I'm sure we'll touch on it in a second, some of the stuff he talked about when it comes to motivation, comes to motivating these kids. And he talked about their feelings and the conversations he's had in conjunction with, I fired the DC because they didn't want to play for him. He also has his own theory on how he can motivate the guys moving forward and teaching them the life perspective, which I actually can buy that sense of it.
Yeah, and also here's the clip about making those changes and improving the defense, because that's the thing I think we've talked about. Say, hey man, it's like you can fire all these guys all day long, but you still got the same players. Like you still got the cards you were dealt. So how can you improve this defense? Well, here's BP.
Yeah, I mean, the first thing we have to do is get back to the principles of good defense, which is get into a great stance, get into a great alignment, run full speed to the football, shed blocks, and tackle well. To stop people on offense, you have to stop the run first, and we haven't been able to stop the run first. Some of it's been our fits by our linebackers. Some of it's been errors. So we're looking right now at really finding out what our base defense is going to be from here on, and then build the package out of that and simplify a little bit. If we simplify and play faster and full speed, then we'll have a better opportunity to stop people.
All right. So simplifying again is going to be the answer to what we're going to do here. Again, it's like, there's only so much you can say. You don't want to come out and be like, well, yeah, our defense is just going to continue to suck because we don't have any good players. Like, obviously you're not going to say that, but it is like, again, you're talking about the right things. You're doing the right things. And, we talk about the effort, but we've talked about it, guys, like simple things like Xavier Sori going from a guy who looked awesome to a guy that doesn't know how to tackle. It's like, those are the things, the effort, the being in the right position, the angles, and also just as my old dad used to say, big, quick, swift kick in the pants, to get people going is basically what they're going to rely on to try to get this defense improved. It's not to say that they can go from being just absolute trash to being best in the SEC in a couple weeks, but I think that there is definitely some room for improvement, and you can do some simple fixes here and there to make them a better defense.
Yeah, no, I mean, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Better to simplify than to try to overcomplicate after you fire nearly the entire defensive staff. I know you got the bye week here, but you usually go through an entire off season of trying to implement your schemes and, all your packages and all that. Now you have like 10 days to get it done before you go to Tennessee. That's going to be a lot of fun. So that makes sense. And honestly, I thought Bobby did a great job of saying some very pointed things in a very professional manner. Like when you are fundamentally fractured as a defense in terms of the small basic things like tackling and, moving your feet or whatever, and you have an effort issue, yeah, man, it's back to the basics. Where else are you going to go? So getting back to the fundamentals, the individual drills, and finding a way to light a fire under their rear ends, that seems like a pretty good starting place to me.
Yeah, nothing that Petrino said in this clip is groundbreaking or like this, holy cow, this defensive guru figured it out. It's nothing crazy, and it's a lot of kind of what you'd expect to hear when you see a defense that's playing the way Arkansas is. I just really appreciate that he had an answer and that he had thought about it and that he didn't do the thing. And I'm not trying to make fun of Sam Pittman, but when Sam Pittman gets asked about stuff like this, he would literally say, oh, you'd have to ask Travis or you'd have to ask somebody. The defensive coaches have their game plan. He's very much a deferring guy, which, that's part of what made him successful. I like that Petrino had thought about it and was like, and of course, he knew he was doing this press conference. He knows he's doing a job audition here and he's sitting right next to the guy he's trying to impress. So, yeah, you better have an answer. But, he could have very easily said, well, I'm an offensive guy, and we'll meet with our defensive staff and we'll figure something out. We'll put him in a good spot. I like that he at least had some type of an answer and had really, you could tell he's thought about this before, has his own ideas. And I think the most interesting football side of this that he said is the aligning up, and we got to get our alignment right. We need to find out what our base defense is. That's what he said straight up. He didn't say we've been running this 3-2-6. He said we need to find what our base defense is, and we can have our conversation about what that looks like. I'm not again, sold that Arkansas is going to fix things defensively, but I like that he at least is thinking about this and wants to make some changes.
Well, and I'm glad you brought that up, Andrew, because I feel the same way, and I'm not trying to gaslight or anything. I'm just going off of what was said. It's like you can tell from almost all the answers that Bobby gave. Yes, he knew that this was coming, this press conference. Yes, he probably had an idea of what questions were going to be asked. Yes, he has not as much pressure on him or not as much to answer for as Yurachek or Pittman or whoever. But it's like you can just get the vibe. He's like, I know what I'm doing and I know what I want to do, and I just need to go and execute it. It's like you just feel like there is a very direct, yeah, this is it. This is what I'm doing. This is the direction I'm going. And he's not saying it in a way of like, this is 100% going to work guaranteed. It's more of, I'm doing this. This is what we're moving forward with. Get out of my way. Like that. And that's honestly what Arkansas needs in this situation. He kept bringing up, we don't have a lot of time here. The timeline's very short. We don't have time. We have to get this going right now. And I think giving him the keys to all of this has really opened him up to where, again, he's a very direct person by nature. He doesn't like people getting in his way. And so it's just nice to hear that. If you're a Razorback fan and you're still having hope for something in this season, or even if you're a Petrino fan or whatever, it's just nice to hear for a change that you got somebody who's like, I got it all up here and I'm going to relay it to you the way it's going to be. It's just nice to hear.
You have 9 weeks for the rest of our lives, boys. I like what Petrino said about we are going to improve. Yeah, I just like when they say things with their chest a little bit. Yeah. It's like we are going to improve. The question is how quickly do we do it, and that rests on guys being able to understand that change happens, and you got to pull yourself up by the bootstraps or whatever and get going. That was a lot of his message was. I think very valid. Like, hey, there are going to be some folks who are excited about this in the locker room and re-energized by it. There are going to be others who are, upset and they feel some type of way because the guys who've been recruiting them or have known their families for years or whatever are out of here now. But the quicker they can come together as one, and then him openly saying, and that's been a part of our issue, was that we have this separation between offense and defense. But as soon as we can all come together for the common goal here, the quicker we will improve, and it is going to happen. I love that. I love that he said that. It's exactly what you should say in a setting like this, but it's not something that we've heard Sam Pittman say in the past because, like you pointed out, he's always done the thing where it's like, oh, I've got to watch the tape, or, oh, you'd have to ask him, or, oh, that's a better question for, or whatever. And to have someone up there just saying these, what seems like basic things, it gives me a little bit more comfort in the situation here, which is to the outside looking in, an absolute mess.
Yeah, Curtis, you mentioned kind of the motivation of some of these guys and the way, and Bobby, I like that he touched on it. He says, I don't want to be dismissive of how these guys feel, because of course it's human nature. Your coach that you committed to play for gets fired. You would be a weirdo to not feel something, whether you feel anger, sadness, regret, or maybe you're happy about it. I don't know. You should feel something when someone very close to you that you've been working with is relieved of their duties. That's an eye opener. And so listen, there's going to be some players that are sad, some players that feel one way, feel the other, all that he mentioned. But at some point, we got to come together. And I think that's very important to say when you literally have defensive players, some of your most prominent ones, Cam Ball, Quincy Rhodes, tweeting out their support of Pittman, saying, hey, be careful what you wish for. Cam Ball literally tweeting a thumbs down emoji. Like, that's very notable. And I like that Bobby did not shy away from that. He did not downplay that and say, oh, no, yeah, everything's fine. No, we're all rowing the same direction. It's all fine. He was like, listen, everybody's going to take their time to process this. That's fine. But at some point, we got to come together and make this thing work, and you're either in or you're out, which is the correct message. And by the way, since we're talking about motivation, every single player on the roster came to Arkansas for specific reasons. Some of them came maybe directly because of Sam Pittman. Maybe they came because of Travis Williams, but you also came to play in the SEC, to maybe play in the NFL, to get an education, to, be a part of a big program, play in the SEC, be on TV. All of these things, almost all of them still apply, regardless of whether Sam Pittman or Travis Williams is there. And so I know it's easy to say, oh, our coach is fired, all is lost. Well, only if you believe that, only if that's how you feel. And it's like, you still have a lot in front of you, a lot of opportunities, which again, I just think is the right message to be sending and kind of turning it on these players and saying, listen, we all feel our way and you're cool to feel that way, but figure out what you want to do so we can either do it or don't.
Yeah, and we're going to continue to discuss this, folks. You got, again, a lot of stuff to unpack from this entire situation when it comes to Arkansas with Bobby Petrino and Hunter Yurachek. But want to remind everybody that our sponsor here on Inside Arkansas Live, as well as across all of our Inside Arkansas content, is BetSaracen, the #1 sports betting app in the state of Arkansas, and it's not even close. I've actually been doing really well, and it's because Saracen has had those great specials each and every week, getting you ready for Razorback football. You know, you talk about a challenge. I think people, once they see that line come out for that Tennessee game and all the props, or maybe some of them that are looking like easy money because there's going to be a lot of uncertainty. But download the app today, and with the best deal going on right now is a no strings attached deal exclusive with us here at Inside Arkansas. If you scan that QR code on your screen, or you go down into the description below and click the link, it'll take you right to the BetSaracen app. Download the app, use code INSIDEAR, where you'll bet $25, you get $125. It's that simple. Get to winning big, get to winning that big money, and get to having a lot more fun this football season with BetSaracen, Arkansas's #1 sports book. Okay, so again, a lot of things to get to, but another thing was about meeting with the team. You know, we mentioned about this, the social media post that's come out and some of the reactions from some of the players. Petrino and Hunter Yurachek were asked about meeting with the team, when, where, how all that's going to go. Here's what they had to say.
Yeah, the plan was to meet with the team this afternoon at 2:30. I've seen a lot of the players individually around the complex this morning, but team meeting's at 2:30.
What might be your message at that point?
Well, we got a number of things to talk about, but you know, number one thing is that you have to get used to change. You know, your whole life there's going to be change. So how we handle that, our attitude on how we handle that, our positiveness on how we handle that, will determine how quickly we improve. We're going to improve. That'll determine how quickly we improve.
And Hunter, well, you have an address there too, and so many of the players on defense loved Travis Williams. Just maybe what your thoughts are there.
Yeah, I will be a part of that meeting, kick off that meeting and talk about some of my reasons behind making that change. And I like Coach, we still have 7 games left in this season. I think we still have a really good football team in that locker room and have the opportunity to win moving forward. And there is going to be a change and a lot of change and adaptability by these guys. And I think that's why the bye week is really key for that. And that will be similar to what Coach is saying about change. Change is a part of life. And how you respond to change will really tell you a lot about your life moving forward. And so I think we've got some really good kids in that locker room that will respond well to this change. It's not going to be easy for them, but that will be my message to them.
Maybe some other things changing here soon too. I'll say that. But guys, what were your thoughts of just Petrino and Yurachek, but especially Petrino with the message to the team and what he's going to convey?
My thought is the sooner that Yurachek gets in there and does his man in the arena speech and gets the hell out, the better. Like, just, you know, like, I get it. You got to say your piece or whatever. Just get in there, have your cue cards, get it over with, and then let Bobby get to work. Because the little smile that came across his face there when he was like, okay, we got a few things that we need to talk about. Boy, to be a fly on the wall in there. It's going to be a very no-nonsense type of deal, I have to imagine. But, yeah, I'm far more interested in what Bobby Petrino's message and what he has to say to the football team is than Hunter Yurachek. I'm just being honest.
100%. And by the way, Yurachek, keep that same energy when it comes to embracing change and being prepared for change in your lives. Let's keep that same mentality and mindset, okay? But no, I'm with you. And what's tough about this, Curtis, is like, it's not like Yurachek's message is a bad message. I just don't think it matters coming from him. I don't think it holds any weight coming from him. And that's not even as an anti-Hunter Yurachek thing. I'm just saying, like, if you're a football player, you're a safety at an SEC school, and it takes the athletic director coming in and being like, hey, come on, guys, you're going to have change in your life. Like, if that's what gets you going, then like you're probably at the wrong place and you probably don't need to be here anyway. But I really do think there's something to be said about these players of, you know, obviously you feel some type of way. It's very normal. You're well within your rights to want to quit or to want to not be all in. But like Hunter said, what is that going to say about you moving forward? You know what I mean? Like, I feel like that's the right way to frame this of like, hey, you have an opportunity to do something cool. Nobody believes you're going to succeed. Nobody has any expectations for you. You go out there and win. That's something you can remember for the rest of your life. And I'm not trying to do the dramatic, sports are about life bit, but it's like, I think that, like, if for these players, like, that's the right message for Bobby to send, I should say. Listen, if you quit, that's perfectly fine, but it's like what is that going to do for you? And he was also asked about the portal and was like, what is hopping in the portal? I understand everybody's freaking out about this 30-day window. And yeah, there's going to be some guys enter the portal, but like, what does that accomplish for you? You enter the portal right now. Is that just like, is that going to send a great message to whatever team you're trying to be a part of next? Like, is it going to get you to the coolest opportunity possible if you enter now? And so honestly, I don't think it's going to be that hard to manipulate these kids into just not quitting. And maybe they're not going to give great effort, but it's like, it shouldn't be that hard to get them to just jump off the ledge and be like, hey, I understand you're sad, but relax. We're going to freaking Knoxville next week to play on national television. I think you can find a way to find it in you to be motivated.
Well, and to your point, it's like, if you're looking at it from the perspective of the player, if you're going to enter in the portal, it's like, all right, so what's the film on this guy that we're looking at? Oh, he was on one of the worst defenses we've seen through 5 games, and he entered in the portal. Oh, great. Yeah, it must be a great player. It's like that. You don't want your lasting impression at an SEC school and on an SEC defense to be just being bad, being on a bad defense and then you putting into the portal, because everybody's trying to prove themselves for that next thing that they're doing. Petrino's trying to do that. I know that some of the guys that they've elevated in the coaching staff, they're going to try to do that. I hope, and I would think a lot, if not the majority of the players, will feel the same way of like, if I'm wanting to get out of here, okay, but I'm going to finish out this year and I got to make sure and showcase that my next step, I can show them all these things. But if you have a bunch of guys that's hitting into the portal, I'm with Petrino, and I agree. It's like, what does that do for you? What benefit does that give you other than maybe you just stay healthier because you're not, about to get hurt or anything? But I just don't think that's worth the reward or the high risk, low reward type of thing.
Shout out to Bobby for the way that he just laid it out there too, where he was like, oh, why would these guys be motivated? Well, some of you want to get drafted, and how you play in these last 7 games is going to impact whether that happens or what your slot is. Some of you are going to enter the transfer portal. This is going to decide how much you get paid. Some of you are going to want better opportunities here next year. This is going to decide that. That's all true, because all those things are on the table there. And, he sit up there and he said it with his chest. He was absolutely right in his assessment too.
And it comes back to why it's like insane that we ever in the sport of college football accept excuses from coaches when it comes to, well, I mean, it was 11 a.m. I mean, our guys just couldn't wipe their eyes enough and get ready for that 11 a.m. game. It's like, dude, if you hold yourself to a high standard and you view yourself as a legitimate football player, you would want to go prove yourself in the SEC in this opportunity. And like, for a lot of these players, this is a prime chance to do just that. And so, yeah, I think between now and Tennessee, I'm not saying this team's going to go in there guns a-blazing, but I think it's a lot easier to kind of sell that mentality than people may realize. And I'm not saying it's easy to negotiate and manage the egos that Bobby's going to have to do, and there's certainly going to be a lot of that. But I actually don't – I think this is actually – we see teams all the time get up for an interim coach. Like, it happens a lot. I think that maybe it won't last that long, but it actually won't be as hard as people think to just get people on board to not quit. And, hey, we can actually talk ourselves into being motivated. Now, maybe it'll go out the window when you lose 59-21 at Tennessee or whatever, but at least for the next couple of weeks, like, I think it's nice with this bye week. I think Bobby's got about 10 days here. I think he'll be able to at least get these guys rowing in the same direction, and he'll have them improving. But even then, you still are playing in the SEC, and you still have well below average talent. So I'm not saying it's going to matter for the long term, but in terms of selling that message to the team, I think that's actually very valid and doable.
What do you guys think about, I don't want to get us off track here, I don't know if we had the clip or not, but what do you guys think about Hunter talking about how he would go about evaluating Bobby in this audition and saying, like, hey, we're not really looking at wins and losses here because that's not a fair criteria to evaluate him on. Can he get the guys to play hard? Can they get organized? Do they look like a functioning team that can go on the field and compete? What do you guys think about that?
I think there's something to it. The only thing is, one, you can say it doesn't matter about wins and losses. It does matter.
You can't go 2-10 and then hire Bobby Petrino.
Right. Like, you can't have it. Yeah. Even if they go 4-8, even if he wins a couple games, he beats Mississippi State and he beats Missouri at the end of the year or something, still going to be pretty hard to sell that without some wins. But I also think, and this has been my message to the fans all along, of whether you feel like you're scared Bobby's going to get the job or you're scared he's not going to get the job, it's going to play out and we'll be able to evaluate it. And a lot of times in sports, you can just kind of tell. And when they go out there and play Tennessee, whether they win or lose, or whether they lose by 30, you'll be able to tell whether or not they're playing and whether or not they're trying. I mean, hell, Mississippi State just took them to overtime. And I know Tennessee's really good, and I've been high on them, but it's like, if Arkansas's there and competing in that game, they will be competitive, and we'll be able to tell that. And then that can be part of the evaluation. But I think Hunter would be lying to himself and all of us if he's saying wins and losses down the stretch do not matter in regards to his status as a head coach. You're full of crap. He has to win games to get the job. What are you talking about?
Yeah, no, see, that's how I am. I guess maybe I may be trying to dive too much into this, but like I feel like it's more of if Bobby Petrino was able to get some sort of positivity from this 9-week stretch. And what I mean by that is, obviously, yeah, if he won more than he lost, if he went 4 wins or more, which is just, dadgum near impossible at this point, it feels like. But say if he was able to at least do that, or maybe go 3-4, something like that. Knowing the situation of what he walks into with this, knowing the situation of going through a coaching change, knowing that he fired the entire defensive staff because of their lack of ability or their lack of effort or whatever it is, all of these things mixed in, this is what Bobby took on, and he turned it around and got it going into something that was a much, much, much better product on the field than what it was in the previous 5 weeks. To me, that would be what would stand out as far as if you'd be the next head coach of like, dude, if you could do this with this team, with this group in a few weeks, and you got rid of you fire the entire defensive staff, and you're not even a defensive guy, and you just elevated some guys that were, up over there making sure that the facility was unlocked over here. I know that they're bigger than that, but I'm just saying, like, they're not full-time defensive head coaches or assistant coaches or anything. If you're able to turn around that quickly and have that much success, yeah, I guess you do need this job, and I guess you do deserve this job. So I feel like that's probably what I would be looking at a little bit more. Wins and losses definitely play a factor into it, but I think it's also just a matter of can you actually pull off this? Can you pull this rabbit out of this hat here in these next 9 weeks?
It would be quite the turnaround from where things left off on Saturday. That's for sure. And it's fascinating to me. I see so many people in the chat that are doing the bit now of, well, Bobby Petrino only scored 13 points in this game against Notre Dame. He's not without criticism. He absolutely admitted that they are not doing the things that they were the first few weeks of the season, and they have to get better too. Hell, even Hunter Yurachek said that he felt like Sam lost the team on Saturday. Like a change had to happen there. My question is for all the people that are like, well, Bobby's your big savior or whatever. His offense has scored 10 points in the second half in the last 3 games. Who would have been the other answer here? Like, there's only one way to go in this situation if you're going to make a change. And this is the only thing that makes any sense at all. So, and he's got a hell of a lot of experience and a track record in terms of being successful as a football coach. This is a big challenge, man. I have taken over a program on an interim basis in the middle of the year when a head coach left. It ain't easy. And I didn't do a great job at it. Frankly, it's a very, very difficult situation to be in. And I tend to agree. Like, you do have to win some games here. You can't go over and it's like, oh boy, they sure get an A for effort though. So here's a multi-million-dollar contract and the full-time job. But I do think there is something to just a turnaround in the attitude, the mentality, and maybe if you can do it in the middle of the season, establishing a little bit of that culture that's been missing. If you can see some signs of that, those are definitely going to be positives for him.
Yeah, I think it's very weird because anytime you have a conversation with anybody, they feel so strongly in how they feel that they don't really care what you have to say or listening to logic. Like, Petrino being named the interim is not a sign that anyone is saying he is devoid of any wrongdoing and that the offense was crushing it. And that's reason he got the job is because the offense is so good. It's like you said, Curtis, who the hell were they going to, like, was it going to be Scott Fountain? Was it going to be Travis Williams, who they literally let go? Like, was it going to be Deke Adams? Was it going to be Colby Smith? Like, you just look on the staff. It was very obvious it was going to be Bobby if you're going to fire Sam Pittman, which, by the way, comes back to what we've been saying all along. Like, nobody disagreed with the decision to fire Sam Pittman, but now someone has to take over. And nobody necessarily, or I guess people do maybe disagree with Bobby being named the interim, but it's like someone's got to do something. And hey, you hate this secondary player? All right, well, and who is it going to be that comes in and plays for him? Oh, you think this D-line sucks and we need to change the depth chart? All right, who's it going to be? What freshman is stepping up? And so I think it's a lot of times, to quote a great man, be careful what you wish for. That great man is Quincy Rhodes. For everybody that's like, complaining, or hey, the people that have been saying, hey, just give Bobby the keys, he'll make it work. Well, okay. here we are. And like you said, Curtis, it's a really tough situation. And so it's going to be fascinating to see how this plays out. And I do think there's ways for this to go positively without it resulting in wins. I also think it's very possible that Bobby does a good, adequate job, gets the team on board, and maybe they win a game or two, and then he doesn't get the job. Like, that is very possible. And I think people also need to understand that, you may feel that way and say, oh man, I feel like Bobby got a raw deal. It's like, yeah, but at the end of the day, like the coaching search should not start and end with Bobby Petrino. And so there's going to be plenty of time for us to change our minds and see how this thing plays out. I would just encourage people to maybe don't be so set in how you feel about Bobby Petrino or the head coaching job or what candidate is or isn't the right fit.
We'll continue our discussion and get to some other clips and some other things from this press conference here in a second, folks. I want to remind everybody that Alumni Hall is one of our great sponsors here at Inside Arkansas. We had a lot of fun there last Friday. In fact, it was so much more fun being there at Alumni Hall than the game itself, but had a great turnout, had a lot of people coming in getting your Hog gear because it is the best, the number one place when it comes to getting all of your Razorback apparel, and they are fully stocked. They got it all. And if you go to insidearkansas.com/alumni hall, that's insidearkansas.com/alumni hall, you can see all the different apparel items that they have, whether it's for men, women, kids. They have Johnny O, they have Peter Millar, they have Southern Tide, they have all that great stuff. And they got hats, jerseys, everything. So you have to check it out if you haven't had a chance to. It's the number one, by far, the number one Razorback apparel shop in all the land and official partner of us here at Inside Arkansas. Use that code HOGSBY20 for 20% off your purchase at insidearkansas.com/alumni hall. Okay, so some other things too, especially for the Hunter Yurachek situation. So Hunter Yurachek was asked about the buyout dealing with Sam Pittman, and I'm bringing this up because there's something that Brandon Marcel just tweeted out that kind of goes alongside with it. So what's the situation? Because finances is everything. What's the situation with Sam Pittman on how much money he's going to be owed?
Yeah, we negotiated in the middle of, right now he's at 75%. If we'd waited till October and if the season continued the direction it was, he would have fallen below 500. So part of our meeting was getting his representatives on the phone, and we landed at a sweet spot for both of us. I thought it was 62.5%. It saved the university about $1.5 million and kind of fell between that 50 and 70% mark, 75% mark.
So got a reduced buyout. And also Brandon Marcel just put out that as part of the negotiation, Arkansas will also not require Sam Pittman to seek employment elsewhere to mitigate. So for all you wondering about the finances and Sam Pittman's situation, it was a settlement that was made, and $1.5 million. Hey, it's about the salary of Hunter Yurachek each year. So it's fascinating stuff, I think. So
yeah, I think it's a fair landing spot here for this one. Sam Pittman wasn't going to go look for another job, man. And it wouldn't have been fair, in my opinion, to hold his feet to the fire saying you got to go back to, Tennessee or something and try to be an offensive line coach. He wants to retire, man. He wants to go to the lake. I think he's earned that at least. So him being willing to have some wiggle room in that clause and the administration being able to do that too and finding that middle point, I think that's fair. I like it.
I think it's fair. It's also, by the way, not surprising that Sam Pittman would be open to negotiating, open to, not doing the university a favor. Obviously, he wants to get his money. If they're firing him, he wants to get his money. But to your point, like, he had no interest in going to be the O-line coach at Kansas State, and running it back just because it's in his contract. So I think, honestly, Pittman's going to get a lot of credit for getting a reduced buyout. And I'm not saying he shouldn't, but I also think that side of it is important to note that this is a good deal for him, and I have no problem with it.
Here's also Yurachek talking about finances and the situation Arkansas find themselves in.
For the buyouts, we'll pay those out over the next 3 years, most likely from reserves in the Razorback Foundation, but we have the resources to pay those buyouts. We don't have any lump sum payments other than Coach Pittman's retention bonus. Everything else will be paid out over the next 3 years for him, and the assistant coaches all have roughly a year and a half. But the assistant coaches all have a duty to mitigate within their contracts as well. That will help bring the value of those buyouts down.
All right, a little quiet there for the audio on it, but basically he was just talking more about the buyouts and dealing with assistant coaches, and also went into having reserves with the Razorback Foundation that they're going to bring out to kind of pay for some of this. But one of the things too, and again, we'll have to play the clip, but a lot of people, our guy Carlton over at SARACEN was bringing up some good points with it, was dealing with saying Sam Pittman wasn't set up for success financially. He was not. They asked him about Yurachek. They asked him about Do you feel like he was set up? He's like, we know we ranked pretty low in the SEC in finances. And yeah, it's like, okay, so that tells us all you need to know. We weren't set up for it. Well, whose job was that? It's kind of yours, your check. So I know that got a lot of people talking about things that we've talked about a lot, but certainly, again, just so talking about, we're set up financially, we're committed to this and everything. But yeah, this past year, and we just didn't have the money. It's like there's just so many contradictions going on with this whole thing.
It is such a weird deal how he went to that. First of all, he was asked about it by Matt Jones over at Whole Hog Sports, and it was almost like he took exception to the question because he was like, "You were at the touchdown club, or you were at the board of trustees meeting, whatever it was, and I gave you all these details about how we rank near or at the bottom of the SEC in every category that matters financially." But yeah, because of that, we weren't in a position to do this, that, or whatever. And then he follows up a little bit later, when people are kind of pressing him on what is the plan, how are we going to get these finances, whatever it is. And then he's saying, well, I just, when we present our package to whoever our coaching candidates are, there's going to be no doubt that the support is there and everything. It's one thing for you to say, we don't have it right now, we're going to have it later. But when you don't really give us the whole answer of why or how that's coming about, it just leaves people wondering, like, is this guy just talking out of the side of his neck or what's going on here? But yeah, I mean, I don't think it comes as a surprise to anybody that Sam Pittman didn't have the resources that he needed. He admitted that a million times over. And the reason why it happened is because they've been hanging their hat on the revenue share thing, which he said they're at the full amount of that. Well, I hope so. You're an SEC school, being the great equalizer that it was never going to be. And they've ignored NIL and they've ignored that third lane, and Arkansas Edge is a complete disaster. And here you are.
When your mom asked you to move the clothes over from washer to dryer, and then she comes home and she's like, hey, did you move the clothes over from the washer to dryer? And then you sprint downstairs, you start throwing the stuff over there, and then you're like, yeah, I did it. They're in the dryer. I feel like that's what Yurachek kind of had going on here, where he was asked straight up. He said, hey, based on your comments, based on the things that you've said, do you worry that that's going to ruin coaches, wanting to come here? Do you think they're going to be worried about the NIL situation? And he said, I think there's some misconception going on with our NIL situation. He was like, no, we got this great thing. And he cited, do you have that clip, John? Because he cited some random thing. He was like, we gave out $400,000 from the Boys and Girls Club, and the average is 1,000 or something like that. He came up with some number, and it was 500,000, which, like, I don't know what that number is. Please tell me you have that clip, John, because it was the craziest thing. And he was like, this proves that we have good NIL.
Well, let me ask you guys real quick. Was it the one where you talked about the Little Rock Touchdown Club comments? Was it in the same vein in that?
I don't remember.
Okay. Well,
I don't
keep
remember.
talking. I'll double check it.
Okay.
Keep talking.
But anyways, he did the whole thing where, like you said, Curtis, he straight up says point blank, Sam Pittman was not set up to succeed with the resources. And he, like you said, pointed Matt Jones and was like, I told you all these numbers about we rank near the bottom of the SEC in support staff. We rank near the bottom of the SEC in all this, NIL money, blah, blah, blah. And I'm like, then you cannot turn around and say there is misinformation about where we stand in NIL because we gave us, brother, $100,000, and that means that we're good and all this. I'm just like, what are you talking about? And, like, I don't know why it's so hard for you to not just say, like you were saying, John, it was bad. It's better now. Now we fixed it, rather than lying and be like, no. We had the money all along. I don't know what you're talking about. It was always right here.
Well, I think it's this clip. It's about the Touchdown Club comments, which we're talking about anyways. But if it's not this one, it's the other one. But either way, we'll play this one too.
I think when we're able to put in front of prospective coaches what the financial package for our program will be moving forward, I think that will alleviate any of their concerns about that.
And yeah, I mean, as you well know, AD jobs oftentimes are tied to the success of a football program. Do you think you're going to be able to lead this search?
I have not received any other indication to the contrary.
More for you. You've talked about finances and being able to compete at a championship level, like you said. Do you feel like Sam had the financial commitment to be able to win at the level you wanted him to?
You were at the board meeting, and I gave you some statistics where our head coach compensation, our assistant coach salary pool, our support staff salary pool, and our overall operating budget ranked towards the bottom of the Southeastern Conference. I think with that information, Coach Pittman did not have the resources he needed to appropriately compete in this conference right now.
Okay. So I know that was kind of like a few answers there, but
yeah, a little bit there. But in the literal same clip, He said Sam Pittman did not have the resources. We didn't put him up in a good situation to succeed. In the same clip earlier, he was like, when we present our next head coach, which, by the way, he admitted later that he's not involved in the search at all. He's handing it off to a search community, whatever. He said, yeah, when we present it to the next head coach, it's not going to be a problem. You just said I presented you with information that says we are near the bottom of the SEC. And then in the same clip, he said, when I present the new coach with our plan moving forward. So perhaps it's going to be very different, but it's like when I present the new head coach, he's going to be all on board. I don't know how both of those things can be true without a massive change, which I'm fine with a massive change. If there is a massive change, let us know, but I don't know what that would be.
You know what I loved about it more than anything? I listened to Hunter's words and I just watched Petrino the whole time. It's like at certain points, he's hearing some stuff. And he's like, man, I got to take a sip of this water bottle. Then by the end of it, he's just sitting there with his hand, just like, it's got to be awkward to sit up there because it's like you're the interim, you're in the running for the job. He's talking about all the characteristics he's looking for in a coach and the search, and it's awkward to have them both up there together. I was cracking up listening to Hunter Yurachek yap and Bobby Petrino sit there with this blank stare on his face and just some of the very subtle reactions that he gave throughout.
Yeah, it reminded me of old Coach Gundy when he got fired because Dwight Howard wanted him fired and he just kept swigging his Diet Pepsi between every answer. Like, just it's what it reminded me of. This is the other one. The money is a factor. This might be the one that we were kind of talking about too, but we can go ahead and play this one.
Absolutely, money will be a factor at some point in time because there's limited resources. But I think we saw with the hiring of Coach Calipari and what we were able to do there with him and his staff and what that's meant to our basketball program. I think we can build a similar model within reason for a football program. I think there'll be people across this state that will step up for us. I think there's an opportunity for the university to potentially help us, and we're continuing to look at new ways to generate revenue within our athletic program. Our football program is far too important to the overall health of our athletic program for us to take it for granted.
I don't know if that
Grief, man. Okay. Yeah, money's going to be a factor because we have limited resources, but look at what we did with Coach Cal. I think that we're going to have people step up their commitment, but it hasn't happened yet. Like, it's just
He's
a dead man
literally
walking.
he's like,
I know we're nitpicking here, but good grief, man.
I mean, that is in essence, and he's wording it obviously better than we're giving him credit for, but it's like in essence, that's what he's saying is he's like, no, I could solve all of our issues, and I have a way to do it. I can't tell you what it is yet. I've got this move that's going to knock my opponent out, but I can't show you yet. I got to show you and so it's like, I don't know. So I saw a chat here from Smitty. Where was it? But I don't know where it went, but he said he's either bluffing or he has an ace up his sleeve. That is it. Like, true. It's like he is either, and I got to be honest, just based on playing poker for a long time, I think he's bluffing. I don't know.
Yeah. And Kate, you're right. He did mispronounce his basketball coach's name.
He did do that.
Who he didn't hire, by the way.
Yeah. Well, see, and that
he was not involved in the process at all, but whatever.
Hi, John Hunter. Nice to meet you. Yeah.
I don't know if, it's, so that's the thing is like, just based off of that and all the answers, man, again, I'm not sitting here trying to try to report or anything, but man, that's just the vibe it gave us. This is just a dead man walking, like with Hunter Yurachek. It's like, it's just a matter of time. So
okay.
It's like, that's the vibe I got is he's giving answers, but I went back this morning, guys, saw something this morning that somebody was showing me about when, like, I think it was when Chad Morris got fired, and Yurachek kind of did the same type of press conference with Barry Lunny. And when Yurachek fired him, there was this like very well thought out, confident, this is what we're looking for. This is what we're doing. This is how we're like all of that stuff. And I know that was years ago. But comparing it to now, there were so many answers I got from Yurachek, not just what he said, but in the way of kind of like, well, we obviously feel very good about, our situation. And it just seemed like I have to give an answer here. So that's the vibe I get, is that this is just a matter of time till he's out the door as well.
And some of what he says leads you to believe that they've had, however long, and I know it's quick, like it's been like a 24-hour period here or whatever, but this is the nature of the job. Do you know what you're doing yet? I wonder, based on some of the things he said there. And then he was asked, like, are you confident in that you're going to be leading this search? And the answer is either yes, I am, or no, I'm not. And he's like, I haven't been given any information to the contrary or whatever. And it's like, so have you not talked to the board yet about this? Or, are you assuming, Or is it that you're not in charge of this and you didn't want to say it right there, but later on you gave us a pretty clear indication of where this is headed?
Honestly, guys, that was a worse answer that Yurachek gave to that question than it was Julie Cromer Peoples when she was like, I'll be doing this search. Everyone knew she wasn't, but she's like, I'll be doing it. At least she said it. Like Yurachek's like, I mean, maybe, if they want me to, I guess. It's like, yeah, that was a great point, Chris. Like that's one of those answers where I'm like, yeah, if it was something that you for sure were, you almost get offended at that question. You'd be like, yeah, I'm the athletic director. Well, who do you think was going to be in charge of it? Yeah.
Right.
When I will say, and he did do the thing where he was like, in my past, confidentiality is the thing. And he's like, so no matter what, we're going to do it through a search committee and we're going to hire out these other things because that's going to be a confidentiality thing, which like, sure. Like I'm not, I understand even if you're actually doing it on paper, you might have a middleman there or whatever. But my question to Hunter would be like, hey, this football coach lost control of the program and you are trying to sell us on the idea that you were not directly involved in that you had nothing to do with Sam Pittman losing control of the football team. And that's perfectly fine. You're now saying, hey, we're about to hire the next football coach and I'm not going to be directly involved in this situation. I also am not directly involved in selling the stadium naming rights. I'm not doing any of that either. We know I don't do anything with basketball. We know I don't do anything with baseball. What is it exactly that you are doing? And I'm not saying this like to be mean. I'm just like serious, like because a lot of times we do this with people in leadership positions. Hell, Sam Pittman. Whenever anything would have success outside of the offensive line, we didn't give that credit to Sam Pittman. We judged him based on what he did with his offensive line, and that's why people were critical of Sam Pittman. Like, what is it that we should be judging Hunter Yurachek's job on? And by the way, we should be judging Hunter Yurachek's job because that's a very important part of the equation. Like, is he the guy that's going to move forward with us? If we are to judge Hunter Yurachek, what should we be judging him on? What work is he doing that we should look at and say, now this is what we should be, assessing here?
Yeah, it's like Office Space. What is it that you do here? Like for us to have value, what is it that you do? So we can know, and everyone knows what you do, because what you just said, it does not make any sense. And we don't feel like you're doing anything. But we'll continue to have reactions and get into. Oh, go ahead, Curtis.
Oh, I was just going to say, I just wanted to clarify something real quick because I know how people react sometimes. I hope that when he says, oh, when our candidates see the financial package we're going to be able to offer, they're not going to have any concerns. I hope when he says that we're going to have this in NIL, we're going to have that, and we're going to be in a better position. I hope that's all that is true. I want to be very, very clear about that. There is nothing that would make me happier than that being true, them making a home run hire, and this football program being where we all want it to be. Pardon me or pardon us if we're skeptical at the words that come out of Hunter Yurachek's mouth right now. There's a distinguishment to be had there.
Well, especially because, Curtis, it's a very valid question of, hey, y'all have been in a bad financial situation before. You've admitted to such in this very press conference. How are you going to push against that narrative? Like, that's a very fair question. And you can say whatever you want to answer that question. And hell, we'll even believe you. Whatever you say, he could say, hey, there's a magic fairy that's going to come and is going to give us $500 million. That's at least something we can go off and say, all right, well, now it's going to change because now we have the magic fairy. But he didn't even sue that. He was just like, oh, they're not going to have any concerns. And I'm like, why would they not have concerns? That's a very public narrative. Hell, I saw Bud Elliott, one of the best college football guys, who was like, hey, I think it's a worse job than Virginia Tech because of the finances. And I'm not saying Bud Elliott's right. I'm just saying that is a very prominent national guy who feels that way. So I don't know if saying, yeah, the next head coach shouldn't worry about that is the right answer. I think you have to tell him and you have to tell us, why should he not worry about that?
Or, we got to stop with this whole nonsense of I was taken out of context. There's some miscommunications out there. Maybe you just need to own up to be like, hey, I said the truth and I shouldn't have said it that way, but it was the truth. And everybody who's upset or everybody who's hearing this, you're right. Like I'm tired of that. And I'm hoping that gets cleared out of this, because that's been my frustrating thing, whether it's the touchdown club comments or, the NILers, there's a miscommunications out there. I'm like, what have we been talking about, guys, for the past year plus about Hunter Yurachek, and what's one of the biggest problems that he and the administration over there have? Communication. They don't do any of it. So when you don't do any of it, it's like, oh, there's a miscommunication out there. You could have fixed that problem by communicating with people if it's not true. But if it is true, it's not a miscommunication on anyone else's part but yourselves. It's on you. You have to take accountability. Let's get into some more here real quick. But I want to tell everybody, of course, about our friends over at Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas. I had a great giveaway last Friday. For someone, a lucky person, I'm not going to dox them or anything like that, but they did get an awesome free Halloween lighting setup and display at their home for this Halloween season. It was all thanks to Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas. And we're going to be doing another giveaway for Christmas lighting next month. So in the month of November, get the best in the business when it comes to all of your holiday lighting this fall, this winter, this holiday season with Walter Christmas Lighting. They provide all the materials. You can get any color, any pattern that you want. And they also install the lights for you. And they have free maintenance throughout the holiday season. So if a strand goes out, they go out there and fix it. And they do a great job of giving you an estimation, a free estimate, where they take your house, they take a picture of it, they put it together, what it's going to look like, and they make it happen. So give our guy Brett a text today at 479-459-1380. At 479-459-1380. You can also check out their website at walterchristmaslighting.com or like them on Facebook by scanning that QR code right there on your screen. It's Walter Christmas Lighting of Arkansas, your local holiday lighting experts. So, again, lots of stuff to be had. And also, if you want to watch the full press conference of Hunter Yurachek and Bobby Petrino, obviously wait until after we're done here. But we do have it on our Inside Arkansas YouTube page, so you can be able to check it out and be able to see it all. Going back, I meant to bring this up earlier we were talking about, so I hate to backtrack. But going back to the meeting with the team and everything and seeing the players' reactions on social media and all of that. And Curtis, you talked about it, but I don't know what the right way of going about it is, but I do like the Petrino approach of almost walking in and be like, oh, you guys are sad, get over it, let's go. And like, that's almost like a thing to where maybe that's what they need. But I am curious of what this is going to look like if a bunch of players hit the portal. Like, how do you message to make sure that, hey, we need you, we want you? Because this isn't so lovey-dovey anymore where Pittman, we need everybody on the plane with us. Nope. You got to do this. And if you're sad about it, let's get over it. Like, there's no time for this. So I'm just going to be curious of what y'all's thoughts are of how do you think is the impact? I know it's like diving into the mind of an 18, 19, 20-year-old kid, but I mean, are we going to see some mass exodus here for key players, or do you think that for the most part they'll hold it together and be able to field the team at least out there?
I don't think there's going to be a mass exodus. I don't get that vibe at all. I know players have been, tweeting out that they're sad or, thumbs down or whatever. That's natural. It's a natural response when things like this happen. Bobby knows that. I think he understands that as well. And he also said that it was like 12:22 p.m. that nobody had entered the portal yet. And I know they still haven't had their team meeting or whatever. Maybe that changes after you hear the address from the new head coach. If you're not picking up what he's putting down, he might help facilitate that for you. But there's nowhere for these guys to go right now. You know what I mean? It's not like you can just hit the transfer portal, go somewhere else and be playing there next week. It would effectively end your season. And there's still multiple reasons to try to continue to go out there and play. And, people talk about doing it for the tape or whatever. I don't think we're going to see a big mass exodus here. I really don't get that sense, but Bobby's right, man. Like he even said it. I think his exact words were like, I don't want to minimize anyone's feelings here, because he gets it. It's a long process to recruit a player to come to your school. Transfers, not so much, but like the freshmen, it's multiple years. It's in-home visits. You're eating dinner at the kitchen table with the family. And, then you're on campus for a couple years and those guys leave, you're going to be sad. Like it's going to impact you. But Bobby Petrino also knows that he's coaching for a job and his future, and these guys are playing for that. The mourning process has to be quick, man. And then you got to get back to work. So if you're in, you're in. If you're out, you're out. Because you got Tennessee here after a bye week. You got to figure some things out. You got to get a lot better. Both ends of the ball. You don't have time to sit around and feel sorry for yourselves. That's just the industry that you're in. So I think he's got a good spot on message there. I'm sure he will be very pointed in how he delivers that message here to the team in about an hour, but that's what you got to do, man.
Yeah, I'm with you in that I don't expect there to be just half the team enters the portal, and not for nothing. Even if they did, I mean, whether it's Bobby Petrino or the next head coach, the roster next year is going to be almost completely differently. Like there's going to be some guys you want to keep, no doubt. But like it's going to be for the most part a very big overhaul roster. Hell, they overhauled the roster last year when you had a coach entering year 6. It's going to be an overhauled roster. So I also don't think we should do the thing where every guy that enters the portal, we're like quote tweeting it with eyeball emojis and being like, whoa, whoa. Like I really don't want to play that game. But you mentioned, speaking of the roster, the message to the team, you've got a roster full of guys who, frankly, most of them are upperclassmen. Most of the guys that are playing are upperclassmen who are about to go pro in something other than sports. They are going to go be, car salesmen. They are going to go be insurance salesmen. They are going to go work at a law firm. They're going to go work at, a marketing building or whatever. When the branch manager gets fired, we don't just stop working. You still got your 9 to 5. You still got to do this.
Tough, but we'll say no. The comments are valid, though. The comments are valid. You all got to have a job to do, and it kind of goes back to the whole thing of, hey, you are somebody who has a job and has a commitment here, and do you want to be that guy who was, whether it's defense or offense or whoever, you want to be that player that was on a bad team, and then you quit on that bad, or not say quit, but you just left the bad team, and then you're expecting other big programs to walk right in and be like, oh yeah, come on over. Like, you have a job to do, and you can help yourself in this situation. You really can.
I think there has to be some accountability requested during that meeting. You know what I mean? Because I keep going back to Hunter Yurachek's comments. And like I said earlier, everything that he said about why he chose to do this now went back to effort and the lack of it on Saturday, and how it looked like Sam Pittman lost the team because they've always been willing to play hard for him or run through a brick wall for him. And you just didn't see that. And boy, that was startling. Wow, that was glaring. And so if you're one of those players now in the locker room, it's okay to be upset about what's going on. There's nothing wrong with feeling that way, but you probably do need a little bit of that internal reflection, like a look in the mirror moment and go, man, not saying that this is all directly the player's fault, but like, what could I have done differently? And should I be doing it differently now moving forward? Because the coaches are the casualties here right now. They're the scapegoats in all this. But at the end of the season, kind of like what Petrino was saying, it's going to be you if you don't change the way that you're operating here, whether that's trying to figure out some draft stock or transfer somewhere else and make some more money or have better opportunities at Arkansas next year. Some of the things that you have been doing led to this, and that could be because the coaches weren't communicating properly or they weren't giving you a reason to be fired up or motivated or whatever, but it's kind of gut check time for a lot of these guys, and I'm sure that's the message that Bobby's going to portray out there, and we'll see if it hits home or not.
Well, I saw this comment earlier that says they will get embarrassed against Tennessee to prove a point. They want new leadership. That is literally what just happened Saturday. They literally quit on the field and gave the athletic department no choice but to fire the head coach. And so, again, with that message, like Bobby can go right to him and say, hey, you guys did your pouting, feeling sorry for yourself and quitting on the field bit, and this is what it got you. So here, now here are the circumstances. Y'all can keep doing that if you want, and then we'll all get fired and we'll all be done. But if that's what you guys want for the next 7 weeks to be us pissing and moaning and quitting on the field every game, then all right, we might as well just quit now. You might as well go ahead and hop in the portal.
Yeah. And also to the point of, what you guys are saying about the effort and time and all that stuff. And there's been fans, too, that have been clamoring. I know you guys have heard this of like, I want to see someone just rip some player out there on the sidelines and get after him. Just, get him by the face mask and all this. You got that now. Listen, the last person, it's so funny. The last person you had who's just like this guy who's not this player's coach, he's this guy that's just this assassin, is now the head coach again. It's like he was the last guy you had, and now you have him again. So it's going to be a staunch difference of, again, there's different ways to skin a cat, different ways to succeed, but you're going to see a very staunch different of an approach, and that's what's going to be fascinating by the players and their response. And I'm not saying Petrino would say this to him, but we can, or at least I can, because we're not in that locker room. But my thing is I'm like, if I'm looking at it from the Bobby perspective, like, hey, listen, if you guys play against Tennessee and you look like you've given up and you look like you don't care and all that, what you think you think fans and everybody's going to be mad at me? No, they're going to start turning on you, because right now players, their fans are going to be fans, but I think most fans are like, oh, Pittman, Yurachek, all that. It's like, well, Pittman's gone, defensive staff's gone, so if you're not giving effort, they're going to stop. Fans are going to stop pointing fingers at one person. It's going to turn on you, the players. Not that I don't know if they care about that. But to me, that's got to be some sort of motivation of like, you can't just continue to blame other people or blame the circumstance for you giving up. You're the one, you're a man. You got to go up there. You got to play like a man, and you got to give it your all. And to me, that'd be another motivating thing of, if we do our Inside Arkansas post-game show presented by Bet SARACEN after that Tennessee game, and Arkansas's same performance where they gave up and all that stuff, I don't want to think like, man, Bobby Petrino's lost the team. Like he's lost the team. It's going to be like, these guys just don't care, and you need to probably get them out as quickly as possible is what's going to be the vibe.
Yeah, and I wonder what you guys think about another thing that Hunter Yurachek said that relates to what we're talking about here. I saw a lot of people take some exception to it on social media because it was semi-directed to them, but he basically said, and I don't know if we have the clip or not, but I hope that this fan base puts 100% support behind this team and that in return they give you 100% effort out there. I saw a lot of people like, oh, it's the fans' fault again, and but I do understand kind of where he's coming from, actually, from that standpoint, based on everything that we were just talking about.
And by the way, he was directly asked a question, and I hate that I'm in a position now where I'm defending Hunter Yurachek. He was directly asked, what are you hoping to see from the fans over these next 7 weeks? And he said, well, I hope the fans offer their support, and I hope the team makes them proud, which is a very normal answer. So that's another classic case of the quote being taken out of context and people doing a, crying and moaning thing.
Yeah, well, I mean, no, they would never do that. They would never do anything like that, I'm sure. We'll continue on here, folks. We'll get to your chats, we promise. Again, there's just a lot of things that we want to try to discuss and go through here, but we want to remind everybody, Hickey and Hull Law, they are the ones when it comes to all of your legal advice, no matter if it's divorce, custody cases, criminal cases, civil litigation cases, personal injury cases, even estate planning. They have you covered because they are all about having that strong attorney-client relationship because it's built on honesty as well as trust. Hickey and Hull Law provides you and also prides themselves on the building those relationships with you by providing the honest, principled advice and representation. And they know that every case that they take is important, and they strive to give each one the most time and care that it deserves. So any of these cases, any of these legal issues that you're going through, have Hickey and Hull Law help you out by giving them a call today at 479-434-2414. That's 479-434-2414. You can also visit their website at hickeyandhull.com. You can also scan the QR code right there on your screen. It's Hickey and Hull Law. Things are about to get better. So again, this press conference was one. Let me ask you real quick. Was it the press conference and the hype that at least I had going into it? Was it better? Was it worse? Was it about what you expected? Just how did you feel about everything involving it, considering your expectations?
I think for the most part, it was about what I expected, but I did come away encouraged with what Bobby Petrino had to say.
Yeah, it was more or less exactly like from almost every standpoint, like not every single answer necessarily, but like in terms of the big picture, it was pretty much what I expected. And that's a good thing. There really wasn't any way they were going to come away from this and we were going to come away like blown away, impressed, I don't think. And I also didn't think there was really a path to us bringing our torches to the facility if it had gone poorly. I just think it was a tough spot that they mostly handled okay.
Yeah. No, I think so too. It's hard to really, have a complaint about it. But I was going to play this clip, but it's too long for this. But just best case scenario, guys, with Petrino. I mean, say if all the players stay, say if they don't lose out on any players, all of them stay on this roster, given the schedule, given the certain. I mean, what is a best case scenario in your mind for Petrino and this team?
Oh, 3 wins.
Yeah,
maybe.
I'm with you.
Mississippi State feels gettable to me. Auburn does. I'm still not sold on Missouri. I think there's some potential wins out there, but yeah, I'm not going to go crazy here and say that this is going to be like this miraculous ordeal. And what did Hunter say? He doesn't expect Bobby to have some magic pixie dust or whatever and go 7-0 or something. I don't either. So
yeah, I would say 3 is probably fair. So I think now let's have this conversation now. They win 4 games and they make a bowl. Is that kind of like the magic number here?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's fair because I'm kind of with you, Curtis. You look at the schedule. I could see the case for Missouri. I mean, I could see the case for Auburn. I could see the case for Mississippi State.
And both those teams are good, by the way. But I'm just saying,
those teams are solid. Like Arkansas won't be favored in probably either of those games, honestly. And then I could even see the case for Missouri. So going 4 would seem unattainable to me.
Yeah. I would say, well, I'll be honest with you. If Arkansas wins more than they lose the rest of the way, Bobby Petrino is your head coach moving forward permanently. I mean, I feel like if they go 4-3 or better, that he is the head coach, and he should be. He honestly should be. If he gets that 3-win mark, I think you could go like either way, depending on what those other 4 losses looked like. Did you get embarrassed? Were some of them close? Was it the defense failing you? Maybe get there. But I feel like it's 2 wins or less. You got to go a different direction, and it's not a slight against Bobby. It's just the reality. But best case scenario, I don't think this will happen. I'm not going to predict it's going to happen, but man, if they beat Tennessee, that A&M game would be so much fun. That A&M game would be a very interesting environment, loud and crazy, which by the way, the Tennessee game, the game times officially come out for those who care. 3:15 though in the afternoon for not this Saturday, but the Saturday after. So for those of you, it's on SEC Network, but still, honestly, that's only, if I could just get one win, guys, just one win, make it Tennessee, just so I can have that fun leading up to that game against A&M, like just the energy and the atmosphere and all that. Because I think how it would be for fans' sake, and if they moved on from Yurachek at that point too, or whatever, it would just feel like a really good coming together environment. Now, it's trying to sound cliche and lame and cheesy, but it's true. I feel like it'd be an awesome environment to have.
Do y'all remember last year when we were going into the season and we were talking about Sam Pittman and we said, if he goes 5-7, he's fired. If he goes 7-5, he's 100% safe. 6-6 is kind of the toss-up point. Is that fair to say that's where we're at with Bobby, where not 5-7, but like if he wins 2 or fewer games, not going to be the head coach. If he wins 4 or more, definitely going to be the head coach. 3 is where we have a discussion. Is that fair to put it there?
It's for me.
Probably. Yeah. Depending on how the rest of it looks like, can you avoid the 35-point blowout losses at home? You know what I mean? Can you be competitive in all these games and everything, and then pop off a few wins? Then yeah, I think so. There's some logic behind, given the financial state of things, unless they really do just get this whole new founded backing of support monetarily. There's some reasons why it would make sense to do if he has some success here, because Bobby Petrino doesn't have any leverage in this situation. Like nobody's hiring him. Like he's not getting a job that's better than Arkansas or remotely close to Arkansas right now. It's like you could hire this dude and triple his damn salary, and he'd still be the lowest paid coach in the SEC, and you could give all the rest of that money to staff or NIL or whatever. Like there's some reasons why it would make a little bit of sense to do.
No, I was gonna say it's what I felt, Curtis, too. If it worked out and if it was like, oh, he won 4 games and everything. It's like, dude, you could get him on the cheap.
Oh man,
you could get him on the cheap. In fact, what was Pittman making? $5-6 million, I think, a year, something like that. You could get him for cheaper than Pittman was making. Like, yeah. He's like, you win twice, brother. You get a better coach and for a cheaper price. Everybody wins. So I could see it happening, but he's got to do that first. I mean, we're talking about a tall order, but he's got to do that first for sure. All right, we'll also have a recruiting update by Dudley because J.J. Bush, as well as some other players, have decommitted from Arkansas, and we'll have that presented by GoLab in a second. But let's go ahead and jump into the chat presented by our friends over at Basis Health, where they're changing the way healthcare is delivered by providing mobile medical visits to the comfort of your very own home. Doctor will come to your home for urgent care, primary care, IV hydration, and so much more. It's Basis Health. They are here for you when and where you need them the most. You can learn more at basishealth.org today. Scan that QR code right there as well. Appreciate our guy Dre being partners with us here at Inside Arkansas. Okay, so let's go ahead and get to the chats. And everybody knows the rules. Super chats get read first, so we appreciate everybody tuning in. By the way, subscribe to Inside Arkansas. We got like 8 billion people watching right now, so you guys better be subscribing out there. Let's see. Hogs by 94. Appreciate super chat. Says, if you can't have a good football team, the next best thing is a good coaching search injected into my veins. Thank you for the coverage, fellas. You're welcome. You're welcome. Appreciate you.
Yeah, and this is going to be the longest coaching search in history, man. 2 months worth of this. Smoke, rumors, plane tracking. Is it Bobby? Is it not? This booster wants this. That booster wants that. It's going to be crazy.
I can't wait. I'm here for it. That's why we do this, for moments like this. It's a lot of work, but there's fun, there's stress, there's frustration with all of you people out there that just like get mad if we don't like the coach that you mentioned. Like there's going to be all that stuff. A lot of emotions, but a lot of fun. Let's see. Also, we got Jason. Appreciate super chats. Word has it several players have been suspended for breaking team rules. Allegedly, at least 2 starters. I haven't heard that, so I don't want to speculate on anything like that. But I guess we'll see. I mean, we'll find out here soon, I'm sure.
That's news to me. Can't confirm or deny.
Yeah. Also, Dylan says, I think that CW and BMFP are going to be great interims. CW has a proven record and rep. As long as the players get behind the change, we have a chance.
This is not Curtis Wilkerson, by the way. I do want to clarify.
Why not? Why not, Andrew?
Well, hey, you said it yourself earlier that you didn't handle your interim head coaching gig, and so you're unproven as an interim coach.
There's a lot of things Bobby Petrino hasn't handled well, and he's getting a second chance here. Okay, like don't just count me out. You know what I mean? But I saw this comment when it came through, and I was like, "What the hell is he talking about?" Oh, never mind,
dude. I mean, yeah, it confused me too. But I just had this thing, guys, like seeing Bobby Petrino run out of the A again. It's just still going to be blowing my mind. The Cal stuff was crazy enough, but to see Bobby going to be the head coach, he's doing the press conferences. He's going to be on I guess Bobby will be on the SEC teleconference, like once again. I mean,
he'll talk to Taylor McGregor between the first and second quarter.
Yeah. Getting mad at her for asking a question about his quarterback and his, if he's mentally tough. Like, yeah, it'll be great, man. It's going to be wild. Joffre, BP is back on his BS, firing the defensive staff at 6 a.m. LOL. He's locked in. Well, it's one way to put it. Didn't come to paint, came to win. Chance says, appreciate Super Chat. Does Bobby start recruiting for next year? How does that work? It's actually a good question. Like, how do you approach
that? To be honest with you, I don't think there is a ton of big picture recruiting being done at the University of Arkansas right now. I'm sure they will probably reach out to some of the guys that are currently committed. And yeah, maybe in a nutshell, some of these position coaches are going to be doing that. I just don't think that is a super high thing on their list of priorities at this given moment.
Yeah. I mean, I don't think so either, but at the same time, it's like, well, you got to show some sort of future. I don't really know. I don't really care. It's about right now. Like, you just can only handle what you can do right now. Shout out to Iowa Hog for being a new member. Thanks, Iowa Hog, for becoming a YouTube member for us here at Inside Arkansas. Jason says, can we get better swag for Arkansas Edge, buddy?
You didn't like the shirt they dropped yesterday?
And deleted?
Yeah, immediately backtracked on.
Yeah, amazing how that worked. Byron's best bet says get Bobby on the cheap and incentivize him. Well, I mean, you might be able to be in a position for that. Let's see. Walmart McKenna says, I actually feel better about the future after that. Weirdly, Bobby P has those psycho eyes. Hunter Yurachek had some spice. Still not a fan. I like the message about effort. It's fair. But I don't know about the Hunter Yurachek spice. I don't know what spice it was, but the Petrino thing, I agree with you.
He got a little spicy with some of the Matt Jones questioning there. You could tell he was a little bit like, all right, dude.
Just wondering, like, dude, it's like you're the gave him the information. Like, why you shouldn't be mad at him.
I'm also like, dude, that is the most, like, of all the people that are spinning negative narratives, I feel like Matt Jones is working overtime trying to help the university as much as he can.
Yeah. I appreciate the Crypto Hog with Super Chases. I know you're a cuck. Said wins and losses doesn't matter, but what record does Bobby need to get hired? We kind of went through that, Crypto Hog. We kind of feel, I mean, winning record, 4 wins or more guarantees him the spot. 3 wins could go either way. 2 or less wins looks like I would think they would probably move on, something to that extent.
Everybody, be sure to say first reported by Andrew Ellis. If we're going with this as the mindset, first reported, that's the chart. That's how it works.
That's right. Jakota says kudos to Pittman for landing on a smaller buyout. He did not have to do that. Mad respect, honestly.
Oh. Yeah.
Mad respect, and it's not surprising. But I know there's something in it for him. He didn't just out of the goodness of his heart accept that buyout. I think he doesn't want to work, and so
exactly. That's exactly it right there. We can call it good faith if we want to, and I'm sure that's some of it. Like, Sam's a good dude, but they could have held his feet to the fire, I guess, and been like, okay, yeah, you'll get your 75%, but we'll be waiting for those job applications on LinkedIn to come through. That way we know you're looking for employment here. So I think it was a fair landing spot between the two.
Also, I know we played the video earlier, but was the funniest moment of the press conference when Yurachek just said, had we kept him, he would have fallen below 500 of that after thing. Like, he was like, yeah, clearly we could have waited for him to lose 3 more games, but we didn't. I thought that was hilarious.
Yeah, no, that's true. That's true. Also, who's Sam Pittman's agent, guys? Jimmy Sexton. So just remember that.
Like, buddy, you better not sign on the dotted line for that reduced buyout.
That's right.
You better go coach O-line at the high school level.
Let's see. We already talked about that. Because a lot of this stuff, some of these comments, but we appreciate it. But some of these things are there. Will says, why do you think Bobby didn't name his assistant that coaches QBs as the OC if he thinks just like Bobby does? Seem like you would want that as your OC. Well, I don't want to speak for Bobby, but I will say, Paul Petrino didn't coach quarterbacks either. He was the wide receiver coach, and he was Bobby's offensive coordinator at once. But then Garrick McGee also was somebody who coached quarterbacks, who was also his offensive coordinator. So I don't think it really matters as far as positions go.
Yeah, and he was pretty specific about he spoke well, and I feel bad because I can't remember the kid's name, the quarterback coach there, that was assisting him. But anyway, he likes having him there and the expectations. But Colby Smith he's familiar with as well, and Bobby's still calling the plays. You know what I mean? So like you want to have somebody in the room, like he said, like when he has to leave and go do other things, that someone can deliver the message or whatever. But it's not like Bobby is going to assume the Sam Pittman role of head coaching. He's still going to be calling the plays and running the offense. And it's almost like a ceremonious tag for the other guy there and some extra meeting duties.
Am I tripping for thinking that Bobby, I know that there's an assistant coach that he referenced, like an assistant quarterbacks coach, but like Bobby was the quarterback coach, right?
Like this. Yes.
Yeah, that was his title, right? So it's a little bit different. Like if Bobby was the OC and there was a separate guy who was hired to be the quarterback coach, then yeah, if you're promoting someone, that would be the guy. This guy was an assistant quarterbacks coach.
Yeah.
Compared to Colby Smith, who played for Bobby and was the running back coach, was already very kind of involved in the offense. And so I think that's an important distinction to make here, that it's not like he's keeping the QB coach on the sideline. He was an assistant quarterback coach.
Yeah. And I don't think Bobby just was like, all right, I'm just going to do a coin flip to see who was my OC this year. It's like, or, in this situation, I'm sure he has.
I thought it would be Fauch, though, if I'm being honest.
What's that?
I thought it was going to be Fauch, low key.
I did too. Because I felt like that was his guy. Wasn't that the first guy he hired, I believe, when he was Arkansas?
Yeah, that was his guy. He was at Missouri State with him too, I believe.
Yeah, that's right. Let's see. Austin says, is there a world where Bobby P is not the head coach next year, but OC and we pick up a new head coach?
I would say there's a world. I don't know how realistic it is. I don't know what that world would have to look like. I don't have a good feel for that based on, on any sourced information or any like how Bobby's feeling. I think it would probably take the right situation, the right guy, and of course they'd have to sell Bobby on it.
Yeah, I think it's highly, highly unlikely that winds up being the case. But Andrew, you're right. Like it would have to be a very specific hire for that to happen.
I mean, think about it. If Arkansas hires another head coach, Bobby's going to go do something else. Like maybe he'll go be the OC at South Florida. Maybe he'll go be the OC at another SEC school takes a swing on him. But it's like, the Arkansas OC job would still probably be way up there in terms of jobs he could get.
Yeah. And also, I just don't think you're going all in like, I want this job. And then they don't give it to you. Be like, well, I'm fine with just being somebody else's, peon. It's like, no, you're not going to do this. I just don't think Bobby would allow that or want that. Austin from work says, is it just me or did Hunter blame the season's downturn on Jaylen Brown's fumble?
No, he literally did do that.
Yeah.
He was like, listen, it's a whole different season. He was like, we were going down there and he was like, we were going to score if we didn't fumble. He was like, they weren't going to stop us, man. But we fumbled that game away and now here we are. And I was like, low key.
Yeah. It's kind of a rough thing, man. I don't know. It was weird.
As
like
he's recovering from his broken fib.
Yeah. That
brutal.
Yeah. Very strange. Very strange. It was like, you could have just said like, if we played better, you could have said that if we played just a little bit better, but no, it was like, that fumble's what lost it. Let's see. Also, Braden says, any chance Petrino was holding back his play calling so they would fire Pittman?
No.
So I would say no. And here's what I would also say. If this were a real thing, which I've seen a lot of people do to try and make a pro Bobby stance of like, oh yeah, Bobby was just holding it back. I don't know why you would want that guy in charge of leadership at your program if you truly believe he was sabotaging his own work. Now, I will make a clarification, though, that it's one thing if Bobby just sees some issues, maybe with the defense, with whatever, and he lets it slide because he's like, listen, that ain't my job. I'm not the head coach. I'll let him do that. But if he's sabotaging his own work, him calling plays, he's sabotaging the offense to prove a point, that's not the kind of person you want in your program.
No, and I don't think Bobby. He's old, man. He ain't trying to. I just don't see him just being like, I'm getting paid this money, and I'm going to deliberately sabotage because I want to be the interim head coach. Like I don't buy that. I really don't. A few more here because then again we get Dudley's recruiting update on what's going on with Razorback football, and then we'll get to some final chats after that. But Austin from work says, in Trey's walk and talk, he called on the media to do everything they could to make this coaching hire successful. To what extent do you see yourselves as a voice of the fans to do that? At least for me, none. Like that's, I guess if you're asking Austin, like if you're saying like what the fans want as far as specific person, and then you talk about that person or gas that person up, I don't think that's the case. And I also don't want that to be the case. Like I want people who know more about the program and the finances and the setup to go out and hire a coach. But I do believe that maybe with our voices and everything too, we can kind of relate that, and some people can hear it. But as far as having any direct connection to making a coach hire happen or anything like that, I just don't know how much that goes into play.
Yeah, I agree with that. I hope to be very excited about the coaching hire that they make, and I'll hype it up plenty myself if I feel good about it, and I look forward to that. And if that speaks, to how the fans are feeling, then that's great. But no, I don't really know that that's our job, and frankly, I don't know that the U of A would want that to be our job. So, there's also that aspect of it. But hey, you scratch our back, we'll scratch yours, fellas. You know what I mean?
Yeah, with respect to Trey, because I didn't listen to the clip, so I don't want to like put words in his mouth. I didn't hear what he had to say. I don't think that is my job. I don't think that's my duty to, and by the way, I love Arkansas. Secretly, I will always kind of want Arkansas to succeed. I will always try and find a positive view for Arkansas. That's just what I've always done. But yeah, that's not our job, and I'm not going to view it through that lens. If whoever gets hired, by the way, does want to come to us and he says, hey guys, I think it would help us out if you did that, I'm all ears and I will gladly do whatever you want. I'd make that clear now. Dave Van Horn, John Calipari, or whoever the next football coach is. If you think there's any way I can help you, I will. But like, I'm not waking up every day being like, how can I make things look good for the new coach? Like that's not really what we do. And not saying that we're going to make it hard, but we're just going to continue to talk about things and be honest. That's what our job is, and that's what we're going to do.
Yeah. In fact, if just to be honest, if the U of A was needing us, like we're awesome people, and we're awesome at what we do. But if they came to us, be like, hey, we need you guys to hype us up. I'm like, you guys are doomed from the start. You're needing us to help you out, like to do that level. You're doomed. You're absolutely doomed from the start. Okay, we'll go ahead and get into your recruiting update with Dudley, and then once that's over, we'll get to final chats and get to some final thoughts as well. But want to remind everybody that each and every time that Dudley joins us for his Inside Arkansas recruiting update, especially all the craziness going on, as well as Inside Arkansas recruiting podcast, it's presented by our friends at Goat Lab Red. They are the place for Razorback fans to be, whether it's lunch, which they play our show every day there during the week, or dinner, or if you want to be there for the game, you're looking for a place to watch the Tennessee game, pre-game, during the game, post-game, they got it going on at 1214 North Garland Avenue, and really fun stuff because we know prime time at the Palace is going to be happening this Friday. Well, we're going to be doing a little action of our own at Goat Lab Red, where the Pod at the Palace prime time, previewing prime time at the Palace. It's going to be happening that Friday, and that's going to be happening at 6 o'clock at 1214 North Garland Avenue. So come hang out with us before the basketball side of things get going and get you some of those great brews that they have, like Razorback, Tusk, and Tusk Light. You also get a signature burger, and it's a great new location, and really appreciate their partnership with us each and every day here on Inside Arkansas. So see you there, Goat Lab Red, your new game day tradition. And with that, here's Dudley Dawson giving an update on all things recruiting and the falling out of the firing of Sam Pittman at Arkansas.
Covering recruiting and the transfer portal for the Razorbacks. This is Inside Arkansas Recruiting with Dudley Dawson.
Welcome into the Inside Arkansas Recruiting Podcast update presented by Goat Lab Brewery. I'm your host, Dudley Dawson. Things have been going fast and furious here on Monday morning, as you might have heard. Interim Arkansas head coach Bobby Petrino dismissed 3 defensive coaches this morning, including Travis Williams. That has led to 2 decommitments so far this morning, and that makes 6 for September alone. The class is now down to 22. The first decommit this morning was Caleb Gordon, a linebacker from Gastonia, North Carolina, who made it very clear that he was stepping out and reopening his recruitment because of the firing of Travis Williams. Also, just a little bit ago, J.J. Bush, a 4-star linebacker commit from Theodore, Alabama, decided that he was ready to take his name off the commit list as well. He is a young man who had been visiting a lot of different places. There's a lot of thoughts that he's going to end up at LSU. He had taken some unofficial visits even after he had committed to Arkansas. So, as we were saying, that's 6 since in September, 2 on Monday morning. It's probably going to continue because of the uncertainty with the Arkansas program right now, while Bobby Petrino has been named the interim head coach and has reorganized the defensive staff. Hunter Yurachek made it clear in his statement, at least, that Arkansas would be using a national search to try to get their new head coach. Very interested to see what's going to happen with that. Also, obviously there will be a lot of candidates, you would think, and I'm sure Arkansas fans hope will be considered. We'll go through those as the time comes along here. Obviously, Arkansas off date this weekend, then plays Tennessee the following weekend at Tennessee. It's going to be interesting to see, what that looks like. Again, just wanted to update J.J. Bush and Caleb Gordon, both linebackers in the Arkansas 2026 recruiting class, have decommitted. We appreciate you listening. Obviously, I want to thank our sponsor, Goat Lab Brewery, with locations in Fayetteville and Lowell. Be sure to subscribe to us here at Inside Arkansas on YouTube, as well as you can listen to the podcast on any place you can get to the podcast. It's going to be a wild weekend, and one of the great things about Inside Arkansas is we can go immediately when stuff happens, as John and the guys did this morning, as soon as the defensive coaches were let go, and did yesterday when Sam Pittman was let go as the head coach. As I always say, remember, yesterday is history, tomorrow is a mystery, today is a gift. I'm saying that today is going to be a mystery too. We'll talk to y'all later.
All right, there you have it. There is Dudley Dawson with his Inside Arkansas recruiting update. And yeah, I think every day is going to be a mystery. Every single day for the next few months is going to be a mystery with Razorback football. But we're going to have it all right here. And whether it's recruiting or whether it's football, basketball, baseball, it's all going to be happening right here on Inside Arkansas. So we appreciate that. We appreciate Goat Lab being a part of it. All right, a few more chats here, folks, because we've been doing a lot of lives here lately. It's almost like stuff's been going on or something. Who would have guessed? But Megan said, not sure about anyone else, but Cam Ball deleted his tweet. So there's that.
Good. I think.
I do too.
Feel however you want to feel, express yourself however you want to. But I think about Cam Ball, and I think about one guy who stands out as someone who could galvanize the troops there defensively. And my guess is that's probably along his line of thinking in terms of getting rid of that tweet, is like, hey, this is the new reality, and we got to get everybody bought in. This is my last year. Salvage it the best that we can and put our best foot forward.
Yeah, I'm hoping Quincy Rhodes does the same. And by the way, I love Quincy. And if there's one person on the entire defense who should actually feel let down by his players and coaches, it would be Quincy Rhodes. I mean, he leads the SEC in sacks. And, he still has the thumbs down emoji tweet up there. He followed up with a, dear God, watch over my future, which fine. But I get it. And I get why these people are sad. I don't love doing the public positioning in a situation like this, especially when it's like we've said, someone had to be held accountable. It's either you or him.
Yeah. And also too, it's like, I would have liked to at least let the coaches talk to you, like let them talk to you and meet with you before all that happens and try to explain some things. But, day and age, kids on social media, it's just going to happen. Let's see. Also, Gage just wants to know, I know it's football is a big thing right now, but any quick hitter or CV for to Providence and Cal priority on Holt?
Let's see. I have not seen the Torrey crystal ball to Providence and Cal's priority on Holt. He's been a priority. I think that gets a little bit misconstrued when we say that things have cooled. They've been recruiting Caleb Holt. They've been recruiting him hard. He came on a visit. An assistant was out to see him last week. Cal was out to see him today. He might be making another visit to see his family. We were kind of tracking the plane before we started here. Caleb Holt's been a priority. He's just been trending elsewhere, Alabama specifically, but he's been taking a bunch of other visits. The momentum that they had from his visit a couple weeks ago, it hasn't maintained like it has with, say, a Brandon McCoy or somebody else. So they're still after him hard. And do we correlate this to a crystal ball for Providence, like this sudden renewed, we're really going after it and we're going out to see Caleb Holt today? Maybe so. I have to look into that a little bit deeper. if Abdu Torre got a crystal ball to Providence, I think I said on the pod this morning, like all signs point to Arkansas here. The way that changes is if Providence is able to provide him with a bag that John Calipari is not willing to match. Not that he can't, but that he's not willing to, because Abdu he's a high 4-star. He's a really talented player, but you're also recruiting like every top 10 5-star in the country. So if they go to a price point to get him that you don't want to, because you've got to keep that money in the bank for some of these other guys, that's where it could become a sticking point. So I don't know. I have to look at it. I'm just right on off the top here. My guess is if that's the case, that they have given a financial commitment to Abdu Torre that Arkansas is not willing to go to. That's kind of where I'm at with it. I'll look at it more. We'll obviously talk about it for the pot at the Palace in the morning, but that's kind of my initial thoughts there.
I like the phrasing, Curtis, of not willing to go to and
exactly. Very
not capable of going to, because you know how it is. People are gonna be like, "Oh, so we're poor. We can't even match Providence. Like, what's going on here, man?"
Yeah.
And also, too, we can get this final chat here by David. Said, is Bobby really going to give Chris Wilson the reins for defensive play calling, or is Bobby doing it all?
He said he would call the plays and be the interim defensive coordinator. They said that in the release. I'm almost positive.
Yeah. So, I mean, it's all we got. So I will assume and take it at its word that that's what he's going to be doing. That's what he's going to be doing. Well, guys, it's been a lot, been a whirlwind, and it's just going to continue to get crazier. Any final thoughts here before we get out of here for the day on Inside Arkansas Live?
Really appreciate the amount of people that have been tuning in to what we've got going on here over the course of the last several days. It's awesome. Like the numbers have been bonkers. We know that that's a lot of that's driven by the situation here, but we really do appreciate everybody tuning in to us to hear our thoughts about it and get all the latest. So if you are part of that new crowd and you haven't subscribed to the Inside Arkansas YouTube channel yet, do that while you're here. I'm like, it doesn't cost you anything. It's free. It doesn't change anything for you, but it definitely does help us. And then turn those notifications on, man, because when things happen, and it could be related to this football coaching search or this staff or the portal or, basketball or whatever, breaking news, we go live. And you want to know when that happens. That way you can be right on the forefront of what's going on. But really do appreciate everybody for hanging out with us.
Yeah, it's been awesome to see just the numbers and craziness. And of course, it's expected. We always kind of knew, hey, when a big thing like this happens, a lot of people are going to watch, but it is cool to see it happen in real time. And I'm sure there's going to be a lot more for us to react and dive into. So everyone just continue to strap in, buckle up, and get ready for what's going to be a wild ride with us. And as I always say, try not to get too bent out of shape. We all feel the way we feel, and everyone has their opinions. And believe it or not, we are actually not trying to tell you what your opinion should be or how to feel. And sometimes you may hear us say something and think, oh, so these guys feel this way and definitive. There's a lot of room here for nuance. And that's what I hope we're providing, is some discussion back and forth, nuanced opinions that come from different perspectives. And we can all learn and grow together. So appreciate you guys for being here with us, man. It's always fun, and looking forward to doing it again tomorrow, honestly.
Yep, we're going to be back after it. Inside Arkansas Live tomorrow. And again, just to reiterate everybody what Curtis and Andrew said, subscribe to us because we're going to be going live. We're going to be on top of it each and every day. So be sure to keep it right here. That'll do it for us on Inside Arkansas Live. For Andrew Ellis, as well as Curtis Wilkerson and intern Cameron, I'm John Neighbors. Same sports show, same sports channel. Tomorrow at noon. Have a great rest of your day, everybody. We'll see you then.